So, Emma, what are we talking about today?
Give me a second. First week of having a baby?
Yeah,
Is that...
surviving with the first week.
I'm very prepared for this.
This episode is called Newborns. So, welcome to the secret loft room here in the Crippen House. You join us in the blanket fort for the final episode in Series 1. Yay! I mean, you can listen in any order, so it might not be the final episode for you, and there will be many more.
Yeah.
So it's not the end. Just
And it's not that big a break either, to be honest.
yeah, just a marker for us more than you, but you might notice a pause.
And maybe there'll be some differences when we come back.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
Anyway, it's time to grab a sparse, free moment that you might have and join with us and other parents to chat about our experiences of raising children, support each other in a non-judgmental way, and whether you have a baby, toddler, more than one child, or maybe expecting your first, then come chat with us. And if you're joining us on YouTube, you also get to follow along with the arty, crafty thing that we're relaxing with this evening, or daytime, or whenever you're listening, or whatever,
listen.
Using one of your senses to join with us.
Well, not touch.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. Watch or listen.
Yeah.
That's limited senses.
That's a lick in the keyboard.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. I'm Elliot, the one who's always cold.
And I'm Emma, the one who is literally always hot.
The hot one. I feel like that's not really what we're...
No, I wasn't giving myself a big compliment. I'm generally always far too hot.
Yeah, I'm freezing. Yeah, it's a challenge when one's hot, one's cold. Like, how do you warm your house? Because you always want it cold because you're too hot, and I always want it really hot because I'm too cold.
It's okay currently. It's when it gets to like the dead of winter, we have fights because he has it up really high and I'm boiled, and I'm like, this is excruciating. Like, how am I meant to sleep in like an oven? And he's going, it's freezing. What do you mean? I put it up because I'm so cold. Yeah,
that's a bit about us. You know, our strange living with a hot and a cold person in the house. I don't know about our daughter Lily. I don't know if she's a hot or a cold soul. I think she's more like you.
Currently, she seems like normally very warm.
Yeah. If you're joining us on YouTube, you'll already know what we're up to. But if you're listening, for those listening, shout out to our Spotify listeners or whatever. I think Spotify's quite big. Not to, disregard everyone else. Our craft today that we're doing as we chat, I think you actually know this one, Emma. Are you able to tell us?
It is. Is it the one I did last night?
Yes.
It is painting my water bottle. So I have like an old fitness water bottle I've had for about a year, and it was looking pretty, I wouldn't say grubby, but like the whole pattern had basically almost come off. So I gave it a wash, and then I'm not going to tell you what design it's based on. I think if you have a look and look at the quote I've written on it, you can work it out.
Well, maybe we'll tell you at the end of the episode.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Stay tuned to the end to find out. Or if you take a look at YouTube, or if you're watching on YouTube, see if you can work out what the design and the quotes, what they're from. And
maybe if you comment, you can see
Shall we get good? You'll give them a clue. It's from a Disney movie.
Yeah, I think that's very bright.
That it
didn't really help.
That doesn't. Yeah, there's a lot of Disney movies.
Yeah.
We've talked a bit before about Disney princesses. I think we've done a craft on before.
Yeah, we have.
But outside of that, what's your favourite Disney movie?
Me?
Yeah. And we better not mention the one that the craft's based on.
It's not my favourite one. So
okay, it's one of my favourites.
Well, you can't mention it.
Yeah, can't mention it.
But I haven't asked you the question.
So. Go on then. You answer the question.
As a child, it was always Pocahontas.
Not Mulan.
Mulan probably was my second. I think Pocahontas said Mulan.
Interesting. I'm a big Pixar fan. I feel like I might mention this before. So they're kind of Disney, but not really. You know, like everything's Disney now.
Yeah.
But core Disney, we do have a split in that you like old Disney and I quite like modern Disney.
Because I'm old.
I'm just uncultured. Although it's fairly old, but not proper old. My favourite Disney movie is Atlantis.
Oh, that's a good one. I often forget that's a Disney film.
Well, it fell in that category of like forgettable ones that came out really early 2000s.
That was good though. I remember the toys at McDonald's. Nowadays, my favourite film is probably like Winnie the Pooh.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forget that's a Disney thing. Yeah,
and especially like the one from back in my day is very like comforting.
That's what we like, comforting. That's what we're all about. This podcast,
all about comfort.
Relax, comfort. Those kind of 90s things that really, go yeah. I mean, I do that a lot to relax. I like to re-listen to Harry Potter audiobooks all the time.
Every night.
Yeah, it's that nice kind of comforting, like you grew up with it in your childhood. Anyway, we're well on to a tangent here, so let's get back on track. Parenting achievement unlocked.
I like that.
Do you like that? Yeah. We've come again to what experience, fail, or bad parenting moment do you have to share? Do you have one, Emma?
I have. Well, it's quite like mildly funny.
Yeah.
When Lily was like 6 months old, she knew that when I was walking up and downstairs with her and stuff, I'm quite clumsy, so I'd often accidentally hit her head into a wall. But she loved her mother so much, she wouldn't cry. She just kind of learnt to dodge. So I'd be like go around corners, and little head be like, "Whoa!" Like trying to avoid it.
I feel like quite a lot of parenting achievements are often like accidentally injuring your child. Yeah. A achievement from me. So when Lily was about 7 months, maybe. And I was putting up a new cot for her. I had the achievement of I feel like it might be fairly common with dads. I know there's a reference to it in Bluey, which makes me think that maybe it's not uncommon.
Yeah.
As I really injured my back.
Really injured.
I wasn't even doing anything ridiculous. I was just putting a cot up, like a travel cot. You had to like reach down and like push the bottom of the thing out so it snaps into place.
You're so tall, you had to bend really low.
And I just completely threw my back out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like lying on the floor. I passed out from the pain.
I'd like catch him and put him on
it was like really bad. And then I was laid in bed for like a week.
Yeah.
Like the first 2 days I literally couldn't move. And then I could slowly get up and crawl about and slowly hobble about and got better. And, but yeah, there you go. There's something I hadn't expected before.
Yeah.
Raising a child is that I'd suddenly become an old man and like injure my back.
You were like quite a young dad as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's what it does to you guys.
Yeah. And now like my back I feel like is very much more susceptible than it ever used to be. Which is a great achievement of being a parent.
Yeah.
I'm now injured.
He's not even 30, folks. Not even 30.
Great. What parenting level have you reached? We'd love to hear your achievements and fails and things that have gone wrong. Get in touch and let us know. Right, enough rambling. Throw that nappy in the bin and let's dive into talking about...
If it's an eco nappy, wash it.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's just going to be a throwaway anecdote. It's getting all serious on me. That's not what we're about.
Someone commenting, I don't use disposable nappies.
Yeah. As usual, disclaimer, don't judge us by our talks, words.
Don't judge us.
Yeah. We're talking about surviving the first week as a baby. It feels like
a baby.
Yeah, that's it. Surviving the first week as a baby.
With a baby.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the words. all the wordsy words. I'm doing great with words today.
You're not doing good. I don't know what's happened to him.
Just having a breakdown over here.
Yeah. Because the last episode is just too much.
Yeah, too much. It's too much. Was it a positive experience? I mean, as with most of parenting, there's positive moments for sure. There's a lot of joy in having a young baby. But
I think also, like, it's nice to know the reality of things.
Yeah. I mean, the first week with a baby, I feel like that's the main takeaway, isn't it? It's a big reality check.
Yeah.
Especially your first baby. I mean, first week with a baby could be your second baby or other baby. We'd love to hear from you how it's different. I mean, we're going to talk about our experience, which is predominantly about having our first child, our first week with our first baby. In my head, it went by very quick because there's almost a discrepancy in my head about what was the first week. Do you know what I mean? Like, so question for you.
I was in hospital.
Yeah, do you count the first week from like when she was born or like a week from when she was home?
I count it from when we got home.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
So to me, like, hospital days don't count. You're not like, well, you are on your own, but you're not like in your normal setting. And honestly, because I had so little sleep in hospital, I can't really remember vividly everything that was going on because that's kind of like a zombie just going through the steps.
And you start out the week with a lot of joy. And,
it's really exciting.
We were
excited to be home.
A lot of excitement about that. And it still felt a lot better than the latter stages of pregnancy. We were just really glad the baby was finally here, that everyone was healthy.
I was going to say everyone was okay.
That, like, we'd finally made it out of, like, the giving birth.
Yeah. We'd given birth for a long time.
Yeah. So, I kind of survived the first few days okay. Like, we got no sleep. I mean... No.
But you're kind of running on adrenaline.
Yeah.
So, and the excitement still, I think. And it was nice because loads of people have sent us cards. We had all these little pink cards in the window.
Yeah.
Honestly, makes such a big difference. Having cards and flowers, it just makes it seem so much more joyful, like around the house. I don't think, because often I'm quite cynical. And I'm like, it's great having a card, but you know what you're going to do with
it. Yeah. We're of that modern generation where we're like, why would we send a card anymore? Like
I still do because I think it's polite. And now I think I can see, like, at certain times, which maybe is the same when you lose someone. It means a lot more. So, like, when we had the lead, it seemed like a much bigger celebration because people had sent us things. And it kind of cheered you up day to day, seeing the little cards in the window. And
Okay, so what was the, like, best thing someone sent us? Because you get a lot of gifts when you first have a baby, don't you?
I liked your boss's gift of sending us lilies because she was called Lily. I thought that was like kind of fun, and they were really, like, once again, a cheerful thing to see every day. Which, once again, I normally don't like flowers, but it was really nice to see them, like, every day as a little reminder. That was nice. Anyone who sent food was great.
Food is great. Good.
Particularly if it's very, like, chocolatey or sugary.
That was I mean, it wasn't actually anyone else, but you'd got me a big cookie that had been specially done that kind of said, was it like, thank you...
thank you, Daddy.
New Daddy or something?
Yeah.
Or something
I realised at the time, maybe the baker was like, ooh. But I didn't explain, like, it was like, he's a new dad.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of my pregnancy, it'd been a lot of work on Elliot's part in that I couldn't do a lot. So I was very grateful. So I, like, got on a big
That was great.
cookie.
It was like a really massive, like, cookie with like toppings and chocolate and also like loads of sweet stuff. Oh, that basically it lasted that whole first week.
It did. I remember thinking it was a good buy because it, like, lasted you the whole week as little snacks.
I'd go through that. I mean, that's a common thing, like, to talk about with surviving that first week is food, and I know a lot of.
What's one of my sister typed in some tips, and one of them was
this is not your often quoted sister in France. This is
my
other
sister
one.
who's local. Well, localer, the one in Barnard Castle, and she's like a good person to talk about because her baby's only 4 months at the minute.
Yeah.
So she's really fresh in her memory.
Yeah. A lot more recent than
and
us.
she was saying how she'd like batch cooked, which I always thought was like a gimmick. I'm gonna be honest.
You see a lot of it recommended, don't you? Like
Especially-
just before giving birth,
Especially
batch cook
Americans,
meals.
they seem to have huge freezers.
Yeah,
and I'm
freeze
like,
it all.
our freezer isn't that big to batch cook that many meals.
Yeah.
But she was saying how useful it was, and she
Really? She actually liked the batch
found it really
cooking.
useful because she said she was like chucked it out, put it in the microwave, would run and do something, and then eat.
Oh, interesting. See, for me, it really didn't work because, like, we didn't batch
things.
cook, but we did batch cook a little bit. So we had some meals prepared. But I didn't feel like eating a proper meal, even a reheat, like, quick microwave thing. I just didn't. I just wanted to grab some chocolate and snacks. I was so tired. I didn't feel like eating.
My parents were really good at this. I don't know if it's because they've had a lot of children who've had children. They would bring just the best junk. So, like, crisps and chocolate and like, fizzy
just
drinks.
Get you through.
Which probably loads of nurses are probably like, that's not what you should be eating.
Yeah, we're not saying what our way was like the recommended, this is the way to do it.
But
we're just saying...
like, we hadn't had a lot of sleep and stuff, it gave you very quick energy.
This is how we survived.
Yeah. And we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was one of Kirsty's tips were like... Because she also had her mother-in-law came and brought them food and stuff. And like she said that was really handy to not have to think. And they're much more foodies than we are, I would say.
Yeah,
as in they really value their meals.
Yeah. That's interesting. Do you think some people like put in that kind of stressful, tired situation, some people will turn to food for comfort, like, oh, I'd like a big meal. And some people will like the complete opposite.
Well, we know this from like COVID and like our wedding being cancelled. We both just lost loads of weight because we just didn't.
When we're stressed, we tend to not
we
eat.
Just don't eat.
Rather than stress eat.
I think some people do the opposite.
Yeah.
And she really liked having a meal that she could have. Which probably is a better way of doing it, let's be honest. Snacking on chocolate and crisps probably isn't the way to go.
Yeah,
but that's
true.
what we did,
it's
probably what we'll do, like, potentially when we have the next child. Although we'll have another one to feed, so maybe you have to eat properly.
Yeah.
Maybe batch cooking.
Yeah, people should tell us how does that work. Someone who knows these things, you know,
Tell us.
if you're an expert
If you're an expert parent.
Yeah.
I can't remember where we're going with this. Oh yes, that was the best present, food. My sister also commented on, as a tip, in the first week when people come round to help, let them help. Like Kirsty said, she was trying to be a good host a lot of the time. And she'd be like, oh no, don't worry about it. Like, you know, and she said she felt like she had to be like someone who could do it all. Whereas she said, actually, people come around the first week, don't be a good host. Be like, yeah, now you're here, do some washing up. Do this. Like, don't be like, oh no, you sit there, I'll try and do stuff.
That's interesting, actually.
Because we didn't have this problem, because we were COVID-y.
Well, that's true, we were COVID-y. But also, I feel like that's not... I don't know, but people can tell us. I don't feel like that's a common experience in that a lot of... we can talk about guests coming around in a second, but generally I feel like guests want to come around and just like hold the baby, not actually offer to do useful, practical things.
Whereas
so if you've got someone who's offering to do it, of course, let them do it.
But I thought that was a good point. Because you probably will feel like being like, oh no, you've come to see me, don't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still very adamant that a lot of the challenge is more trying to get your guests to do something. Like, if you're going to come visit, you're not coming just to be like, oh, hello, I want to see how you're doing.
If you come around and visit people with a baby, do stuff.
You need to be like, but not the stuff that's useful.
Yeah, you're like washing up.
Yeah.
Not just holding the baby.
Yeah, that's not you. Not feeding the baby. Not changing the baby. They're all things that the mum or whoever, the dad...
Especially during the first week, they're quite like new novel experiences.
Yeah.
They want that time with the baby.
Whereas... And it's good for the baby to have a consistent approach to those things. Like the bond between parent and child is really important at that age. And like, they're not the things that we really need help with.
Yeah.
You know, it's the things we haven't got time for. And if you want to come visit and help, you know, like, it's all very well, like, saying that and doing things, but it's like, sure, come visit at 4 a.m. and help us then. Like, you know, the first week, I mean, I'm quite strongly opinionated that I don't really like visitors in the first week.
A
Full stop.
lot of people have that thing. I've seen a lot of TikToks where a lot of people have the rule: first 2 weeks, no one comes.
Yeah.
And a lot of people said, like, obviously, grandparents stuff were upset, but they were very adamant that that was their rule. I think when we have another child, I don't care because I think we'll need the help.
The flip side is, you need a good support system around you, and if you've got people that are willing to provide that, then that is fantastic. You
I can see though, and even from like an illness standpoint, it is best to not have other people kissing and all over the baby all the time. So,
and it can be quite exhausting. You're tired. You've been through quite a traumatic experience.
I think it's like swings and roundabouts because I actually really enjoyed guests.
Again, it's maybe because I'm more introverted. It was kind of draining seeing guests, whereas for you, it was quite energizing.
It was, and I don't know if it's because it's straight after COVID. I actually really enjoyed it. Kind of just split up the day having somebody else come in and talk. Like, even if it wasn't for long, I really enjoyed it.
For us, our experience, we often found that actually that first week wasn't the hardest.
No.
It was hard for sure, but actually it was later on.
Well, it's because it's like a marathon.
Yeah,
so
the
the
later
first
weeks
week,
that were
hard. You kind of give all your energy, you're like, oh, this is fun.
Like you were saying, you were running on adrenaline.
Yeah.
Like you were getting no sleep, but you could cope for a little bit with no sleep. It's then later down the line when it's consistently you've not had sleep and you've not been able to catch up.
It's harder.
That's when it gets hard. Yeah. So if you're in your first week and not to put you off, it gets harder. It does get harder for some.
Yeah.
You can get more involved with our Don't Wake the Baby community in the YouTube comments or over on Instagram, both of which are at Don't Wake the Baby _podcast. Of course, our aim of this podcast is to connect with other parents out there, so we'd love to hear from you. If you want to talk with us and other listeners directly, you can join our Facebook group chat. Find all those links and things in the description or the show notes. Do subscribe, review, tickle that like button, and feed the algorithm. That's what we like. Most importantly, share with all your parent friends, whether you think this is good or bad.
Yeah.
Share it anyway. Yeah, share with anyone you can find. Anyone on the street, just go up to them, say, listen to this podcast. It's what we want. So some things about the first week that we haven't mentioned so far. I mean, I feel like a lot of that first week, first month even, you were recovering from having a C-section. So in my memory, I always imagine and remember you in those like long stockingy things from hospital, and you doing those injections.
Oh yeah, they were horrible.
Do you want to explain about that?
Yeah. So just my position. Because they're worried about you getting blood clots, you have to inject yourself with blood thinner. So, yeah, I forget how horrible that was. You really had to psych yourself up to inject yourself in the leg. I was like, oh.
It still amazes me that they just send you home and you have to do it yourself.
Especially, they'd only shown me like 5 minutes before I was let out.
Here you go. Here's how you do it. Just stab this needle in your leg. Yeah.
I was
and the leggings things, they were for the same thing, weren't they?
Yeah.
To prevent blood clots.
Yeah. So I had very attractive green leggings on.
Compression socks, I think they might be called.
Stockings.
Yeah.
Compression stockings. But I remember my sisters were very jealous. They got like blue ones and I got green ones, and they thought that was more exciting.
The other kind of memory of the first week of parenting was very much around feeding. So
we lost struggles.
You struggling with breastfeeding and switching on to formula, and then trying to bottle feed, and then of course alongside that, kind of the health visitor visits in the first week.
I forget, that was quite stressful. Although I was really glad when it was like the health visitor that I actually. Well, they're not health visitors. They're community midwives who visited.
Oh, were they? Was that
yeah.
who they were? Okay.
Because that's how I knew one of them who saw me, because she was my community midwife from the one I'd seen.
So I think we had a visit at the end of the first week, just before she was a week old. Yeah. And then we had, because Lily wasn't putting on enough weight because we were struggling breastfeeding, we had a second visit.
2 days later?
I think. It might be 3 or 4 days later. I'm not
Okay.
sure. Something.
Yeah.
It was into the second week. Although, if you're counting as you are, the week being from when we got home, still technically within the first week. I think.
Yes, yeah.
So it
In
depends
my
how you
brain.
count it.
Yeah. But they were actually nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked all the ones who came and sat with us, I think, in the house.
We were kind of prepared though for them not to be
Yes,
nice.
we
So
were,
we kind of preempted that by instead of asking for their advice, we just when they arrived said, "By the way, we're now mixed feeding."
Yeah. Instead of going, "What's your opinion?" We're like, "This is what we're doing now."
Yeah.
But no, they were nice. I think because we've heard a lot of people who've had bad experiences with them. We were like really prepared to kind of have them be like, "Well, you should only be breastfeeding. You know, why are you mixed feeding?" But they were very just happy. When she was putting on weight, they were just happy. They were like, "Yeah, that's great. Okay."
Yeah.
I think they saw a separate issue is near the end of my pregnancy, I had a huge rash.
Yeah.
And it was like not like what people think of when I say a rash, like it was like
a covering your whole body type of rash.
Yeah. And not like, oh, it's little spots. It was very
like a lizard, scaly skin lizard.
Yeah. Wasn't attractive.
Emma morphed into a lizard. So that's what you need to know.
So I think nicely they were more concerned about me and the rash than actually like if I was breastfeeding or not.
True.
I feel like in the hospital nobody addressed my rash, even though it was terribly itchy.
Yeah.
And they were just very.
I mean, it's not going to be something that a lot of people will have gone through because it's incredibly rare.
It's very rare.
But we eventually discovered you have your hormones had triggered a sensitivity to the sun.
To the sun.
So, you're just allergic to light. It's great, isn't it?
And it's really funny. Well, not funny. It's a coincidence that my sister, who's also had a girl, Kirsty, who's in Barney, also had the same reaction.
So literally, if you go out in the sun, this scaly lizard rash will return.
Yeah. So I was put on like a steroid cream to get rid of it.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going into another tangent topic. Yeah. I mean, I suppose it does play into it in that part of the reason that we switched to mixed feeding was because of the steroid cream, which meant you couldn't breastfeed for a little bit because it was a strong stuff. But anyway,
I was just glad they were worried about that. Like, and that they paid attention to it.
I think it's a theme, though, isn't it? Like, that first week, there's a lot of worry. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of, we don't know what we're doing. Are we doing this right? And that was just another thing for us that was a worry and a stress.
And I'm quite as we've established, we're quite anxious people. So I would like do this thing in the middle of the night where I'd just put my hand out into the crib to check she was breathing. Because I'd panic, halfway through the night she suddenly wouldn't breathe. And it's one of the reasons we gave her a dummy is because I knew it like reduced SIDS. So all that kind of stuff that I had to worry about. I think I'll be more calm with the second one because you've done it once and it was all okay.
And you know what's normal and what to expect. There's so many things I just didn't know what to expect.
Well, like their breathing sounds really weird.
Yeah, and like when they hiccuped, like their whole body would like kind of do a huge kind of vibration, like a whoa.
Yeah, that's true.
There's all sorts of things that like I had no idea what a health visitor. No, it wasn't. Was it? It was a community midwife. The visit would be like. I almost expected them to want to look around the house.
Oh, we did. We cleaned the whole house.
I had no idea.
I was like, I wonder if they'll inspect where she's sleeping. Like, I better make that look nice. Like,
it was. They barely asked anything really. No. And there are all sorts of other things where you'd researched like what the best practice was. At least we did. Try and be as good parents as possible. And then the reality was a lot messier. I remember. The thing I could never understand was they'd go on and on about put your baby so their feet are touching the bottom of the cot or crib or Moses basket so that when they've got a blanket over them, they can't slip down and get under the blanket and suffocate or whatever, all that stuff. But it didn't work like that. Lily wouldn't stretch her legs out straight. She would kick them about, cool them up. And I was like, well... Do I do I
measure?
Yeah, do I measure her leg out straight and put her at the bottom? But then if she's spending most of the night with her legs up, she can easily slip down anyway. So do I put her bum right down at the bottom? I was just like, this is beyond me. I don't know. I'll just have to wing it.
Yeah.
The
Well,
other,
it's all right. You had your wife checking every 10 minutes she was breathing, so
yeah,
I think
yeah,
you'd have been okay.
yeah. The other one I really remember was about temperature, and that
Oh, yeah.
you know that's like I don't know what you call it, a hack or a tip
Yeah, the tip
that they always used to say, like have
and
your
lay
baby
extra than you.
wearing a
Yeah.
layer more than you are. But as we've already established, I'm really cold and Emma's really hot. So like on an average day, Emma would be like wearing a short sleeve t-shirt and I would be wearing like two tops and a jumper.
Yeah.
I was like, so who do we follow?
Doing it off, yeah. Should we meet in the middle? Come up with like an average temperature we think it is?
I was like, this tip's not helpful.
No, it
I've still no idea how to dress her. Hello, it's still us, the
Still us.
voices in your phone, here to tell you again that this podcast is brought to you in partnership with the Kairos movement, which is a project of the Methodist Church that we're a part of. But that's all the boring bit. This project, Podcraft or Parentcast.
Oh, I like Podcraft. That's
Podcraft.
good.
I feel like we need a name for our weird kind of show. Well, we're all about sharing experiences and all of ourselves with you, and so we can't get away from the fact that part of our identity is having a faith, and that's kind of we don't want to.
Who we are.
Yeah, exactly. How did you become a Christian, Emma?
Well, like many things, I was born into it, but I would say I probably wasn't like my mother will disagree. But I wasn't like a very active practicing Christian probably till I went to university.
Yeah, I was similar really. My parents are Baptist ministers, so I was brought up in a church. I wouldn't say really that the church really kind of made me a Christian or have a faith, really.
No.
Didn't really, if anything, I probably became a Christian in spite of that. But I was very similar in that kind of went through the motions for a lot of childhood and then university.
I think because I like history, I enjoy and mythology.
Oh, we're going to get into trouble with a lot of Christians here.
I'm not saying it. I'm just saying I've always enjoyed that aspect of I enjoyed Bible stories, but I also enjoyed Greek myths and Vikings and all that stuff. So I think I was always when I went to church, it wasn't always necessarily spiritual when I was a child.
You're like an academic. You're
but
this is interesting.
I enjoyed the storytelling aspect of it.
Intriguing.
Yeah, so I'm saying I think I got that from childhood, but I wouldn't say I always had a faith in that there was something. I don't think it grew till I was out of the house and on my own. Yeah,
I was similar. I think my faith grows a lot with kind of relationships and discussion and friends and that, and I got a lot of that uni surrounded by a more diverse and liberal group of people who kind of helped me explore and develop a faith and be part of the Methodist Church.
Watch us get cancelled now because I've mentioned mythology.
Yeah, we have to be very careful talking about our faith because a lot of Christians would probably not consider us Christians. But that's the world we live in.
So it always amuses me. My sister Kirsty's like, "You're the most Christian people I know," and I'm like, you know what's funny? Some people wouldn't think so.
But anyway, that's talking about the church really, and Kairos is different from a church. It's providing support and partnership to a range of people like us who are running things, all sorts of things around Yorkshire. And we're not here to get you to join Kairos, but you may find that it has something that could feed your spirituality, whatever that looks like, or maybe explore faith with a bunch of liberal oddbods like us.
Yeah.
And that's it really. There's a range of pick and mix groups and activities online or around Yorkshire that might be of interest. You can find out more about our partnership with Kairos over on our webpage www.kairosmovement.org.uk/Don't Wake the Baby. How do you think surviving the first week with a newborn has changed since we were little?
I was going to mention this anyway. I was going to say what was really useful that we got and what wasn't useful, which feeds into this, things we bought. for the
Oh,
baby.
things we bought. Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
like,
I mean,
one of the things that has majorly changed is technology.
Yeah, definitely. So we can't remember the first week when we were born
We
because
have
we were little
no
babies.
idea.
And I feel like it would be our parents' job to talk about
Yeah.
that period. But the things,
And they are not here.
yeah, the things that have changed are the things we have access to.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting. So what bits of tech or things that we bought were most useful in that first week?
I remember, sorry, this is not in the first week, but when
Oh.
we were setting up
Near
to
the beginning?
have the baby,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
my dad was so impressed by that camera.
Yeah.
So remember, it moves to follow the baby.
So we were looking for what do you call it? Like a baby monitor?
A baby monitor, yeah.
Yeah. So
They all come with cameras now.
Yeah, back in our day, it was just like a old-fashioned chunky radio.
Like a little phone.
Like a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
You'd have one and the other would be in the...
Yeah.
Whereas I remember looking for one and I kind of wanted
He
something.
He really wanted like an old-fashioned
I want like a 90s style thing. As you can tell, we're really into like...
retro things.
Retro stuff. But like everything I could find was
all as a camera.
Was like a modern thing with a camera. So we bought a modern thing with a camera.
I remember Dad
with an
found
app.
An app, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Dad
so
found
modern.
it really funny because he'd like help me set it up and put it near the crib so you could see like, you know, the baby when he came in the crib.
Yeah.
But he found it really funny because like then he was wandering off and he was like, Emma, it's trying to film me going to the toilet. Because it's like he was walking towards the toilet, like the camera was
so it had like a
towards
motion
him.
tracker, so it would turn and focus on whatever was
He
moving.
found it really funny. He was like, there's going to be no privacy.
No, that was good fun actually.
was.
I mean, it was a pain at times trying to get it to work, but
Yeah. And it was quite funny, you'd see the other person go up and it'd tell your phone there was movement.
yeah.
And you could see, like, the tired-looking person holding the child.
It would send me a notification on my phone and be like, there's been movement, and it would, there'd be like a little screenshot of a photo it had taken of what the movement was.
Also, a good buy we got was that panda thing.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
And it, like... it could detect noise.
Yeah.
It was really clever. It detects like baby noise. So like when you're wandering about or talking, it won't detect it. It detects crying.
I mean, we're saying all this stuff's really clever. If you're having a baby more recently, you're like, yeah, this is all standard stuff. It's moved on loads since then.
Yeah, maybe. To us, it was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And the fact that like you could make it play white noise or like heartbeat or music.
When she was first born, the heartbeat one was really good because it like
seemed to
mimicked
work.
the womb. She really liked that.
Yeah.
Then as she got a bit older, the white noise was good. And now for a while we've been on to like just some quiet sleep music, lullaby stuff that she has on at night.
But I was just saying that was really good early on for when she'd wake up a little bit.
Anything else that was do you think's different from like when we were young, like going through the baby phase, having a newborn?
I think like co-sleeping and stuff.
A lot of the advice has changed and we've moved on a long way.
Although still have a lot of it's very opinion based.
Yeah.
Because I remember one community wife basically told me, oh, you should just never co-sleep ever. And I was like, but the NHS guideline is you can co-sleep, just, you know, don't have a huge cover on, do it safely, be on the same level
here's how you do
pillows.
It well.
Like,
yeah.
So I remember once again, I liked it, but I found it very contradictory. I was like, that's not the advice the NHS gives. So why are you giving that advice?
You work for the NHS.
Yeah. But, like, I think nowadays co-sleeping's not as frowned upon. I know, like,
definitely.
I agree. If it's done safely, it's fine.
Yeah.
So.
There's a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like dummies as well. People used to have strong opinions on.
Yeah.
Now it's a lot more, you know.
A lot more lenient than it was.
Yeah.
Which is lucky for us, because Lily still quite likes her dummy, to be honest.
Yeah, we're trying to get rid of it
really
at the moment.
trying to.
We've not really touched on the question of the episode, which is kind of how do you survive that first week in terms of what would be your advice for other parents going through the first week? How do you think you know, what's your advice?
I would say, controversially.
We like controversial here.
Yeah. If you have a spare bedroom, one of you sleep in it. So I know you
do
want
shifts.
I know
if you have a partner who's home and able to.
Yeah. Well, they should be, because you should be on paternity at that point.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Obviously, you're a single parent. That's impossible.
Yeah.
So
good point.
But if you have a partner, I think a lot of people like us, we're kind of romantic, and we're like, oh, we want to share the room, we want to share the. Don't. Have one of you sleep in a separate room, so one of you gets some sleep and the other one goes
True.
to bed.
Yeah.
It was hard for me because I had a C-section.
Yeah.
So
We're making a lot of assumptions here as
Yeah.
well, as in like it's not going to be possible
if you don't have a house
you're
with 2 rooms.
true, or if you're breastfeeding and the sole person
Yeah.
needed to get up in the night.
True.
All that kind of stuff.
But I think what helped us was one person getting sleep. Because some people breastfeed and the person still stays in bed with them. I'm like, get that other person to get some sleep.
I feel like
So they can, like, take the kid off you.
yeah. The woman in this scenario, though, I feel like is going to be bitter and be like, "You're not doing anything. Why do you get to go and have a nice night's sleep in another room?"
I know, but it's the big game plan. It works in the end.
That's true.
Because then they've had enough sleep to be really helpful in the daytime.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Even from the first week, it's good to have this in your mind. And I know for most of the time you're in survival mode, but there's a point you get to later on where you switch from survival mode to that long-term game plan. And I think it's quite good to try and just have in your mind some of those things from the outset of how do we survive this long term, not just how do we get through today, even though that's probably
all you can manage.
All you can manage some days. And as always with all these things, and I think particularly with the newborn phase and going through that first couple of weeks, every child is different, and it's good to reiterate this over and over again that it's different in different circumstances for different parents and different people. And Lily wouldn't do a lot of the stuff that it was kind of recommended or what other people would do, and there's different challenges for different people.
It's like baby wearing.
Yeah,
it's a huge thing, and I think it's great, but Lily won't do it.
Yeah.
She was
she wouldn't be swaddled. She didn't hated being confined.
And they say babies love it.
They're meant to love that.
She hated it. She was like, "Why? What have you done?"
I was like, "What are you doing, Lily?
You've trapped me."
It's hard.
It is.
The newborn phase is hard, and there's a lot of joy. Oh, I know something we've not touched on.
Ooh.
Just come back to me thinking about what are the joys of that first week. Quite a lot of that first week is spent telling people. It's like announcing to the world and like contacting people and saying we've had a baby.
Yeah.
That whole, I don't know, it'd be interesting to know what people do, but putting it on Facebook. Do you do that? Do you not do that? When do you do it? First day, first week?
And we have the thing of most of my family, we don't announce pregnancy on Facebook.
Keep it kind of a little bit under the radar.
A lot of people don't know you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And you have to be like, "Oh, by the way,
we've had a baby.
So yeah.
Yeah. So quite a lot of that first week, I remember sat kind of holding Lily while you were taking a nap.
Yeah.
And just
a lot of it was me napping.
And like answering messages on my phone, replying to comments on Facebook, and just getting some lovely, lovely things from people who are very excited for you.
Very excited.
Yeah.
Oh, and newborn smell, it's definitely a thing. Get all those sniffs in, because they smell amazing.
Anyway, I'm sure there's loads of stuff we've forgotten to mention about the newborn phase and that first week of parenting. Let us know what we've missed, what things you enjoyed, what things you struggled with. How do you survive that first week? How did you feel your craft went? Your water bottle?
I was pretty pleased with it, actually. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the most refined looking thing I've ever done, but I was pretty happy with it.
Do you want to reveal what it's from?
It's from Encanto.
Encanto, yes.
And it's the pattern that's on Louisa's skirt, and then I've put a quote that she says on it.
Yeah. So the quote is from the song that Louisa sings. Is that right? Can you remember what the quote is? In case people are either listening or can't make it out on YouTube.
Give me a second. It's something because I know what my worth is, and I shine bright because I know my worth is. Something like that.
Something like that. There we go. We can't even remember ourselves.
I wanted to put
Is it like yo
Cerberus. Yo, I don't want to fight Cerberus. But Elliot told me that nobody would get that at the gym, so I better put something that's more like self-motivating.
Yeah. But we really like the songs from Encanto. I really like the film. It's one of my favourite Disney films. Don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us in the secret loft room this evening.
I like it's getting more like the actual space we're in.
Well, it is this time.
That's what I'm saying.
We are, yeah. I mean, normally it's imaginary, but we
Yeah.
are actually in a loft space. Come back next time to see what other strange place we might be zooming from.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've been listening to Don't Wake the Baby. We'll see you. No, hang on. We'll hear you next time. No,
You'll hear us next
you'll
time.
hear us next time. That's what we want. That's it.
We won't see you. That would
Yeah.
be weird. We're not going to turn up to your door and be like, hi.
Yeah, and
We hear
we
you,
won't
listen.
hear you either. So
No.
you'll hear us. Anyway, that's it. We're done. We're finished. Sleep well. Goodbye.
Don't wake the baby.